We live in a time of historic, extraordinary economic, political, and social transformation. Today we face challenges that collectively are as alarming and as complex as any that we have ever faced in our history. Unfortunately, we also live in a time when public confidence in the institutions charged with governing and molding society have reached all-time lows because they have failed to act and have failed to achieve. In particular, we have a political process that is growing increasingly incapable of addressing the historic challenges that now conspire against our future. Our modern political culture offers too little leadership and too much negativity. Instead of solving problems, too many of our leaders are focused on assigning blame. The inability of our political process to confront and solve the issues of our day is an emerging crisis. A crisis that leaves us on the brink of a tragic and dubious distinction. The first generation of Americans who may not leave for their children a life better than their own. And so as we gather here today, the opportunity before us is more than just routine. It is the opportunity to be the kind of genuine political leaders that our people so desperately want and our politics so desperately needs. To seize this opportunity will require us to do three things. First, we must together imagine our future. We must put aside our differences and offer a clear vision of tomorrow that will unite and inspire our people, not divide and discourage them. We simply cannot lead if we cannot articulate where we want to go. Second, the political process must become a battlefield of ideas, not partisanship. A forum for both parties and for every member to offer their ideas on how to accomplish our shared vision. Ideas that offer people real choices. A place where people can agree on where they want to go. And the only question is, what is the best way to get there? And third, our work here must be about solving problems, not winning debates. That means that we will be open to all points of view, taking the best that everyone has to offer without political gamesmanship. 100 Innovative Ideas for Florida's Future is our attempt to imagine the future and bring it to life. Our basic principle is simple. We trust the people. And our method was uncomplicated. We asked individuals from all walks of life what they thought tomorrow should look like and what they thought the best way to get there was. And from these two simple questions, we learned so very much. For example, we learned that all Floridians understand that when children grow up, when our children grow up, they will have to compete and succeed in a global economy. They recognize that our competition is not Alabama or Mississippi or Georgia, but the children of the world. Therefore, we may disagree on how to accomplish it, but I believe we all agree that Florida must provide the best education system, not in our nation, in the world. We learned that Florida's parents fully understand that the modern dangers our children face. They recognize that keeping an eye on your children while they play outside is no longer enough, because the internet has allowed predators to target and reach them inside your very homes. And so while we may disagree on how to accomplish it, we all agree that Florida should be a national leader in providing parents the tools they need to protect their children from the unique dangers of a rapidly changing world. And we learned how the rising cost of living threatens the economic security of thousands of Floridians. Owners, renters, businesses, large and small, are all paying more in property taxes than they should. And all of us, everyone, is paying more in property insurance than we can afford. Therefore, while we may disagree on how to accomplish it, everyone agrees that Florida must address the twin threats of rising property taxes and rising property insurance. The goal, the mission of 100 Ideas, above all else, is to serve as a catalyst for solving the day-to-day problems of our people by putting their ideas to work for them. But while we are proud of our ideas, we're always open to better ones. In fact, Our sincerest hope is that these 100 ideas will inspire 100 competing and maybe even better ideas. Putting these ideas to work will require bipartisan collaboration. But let me caution both Republicans and Democrats alike. We should not abandon our respective principles. Our republic benefits from having different political philosophies engage one another in the battlefield of ideas. Our challenge is to unite behind a tomorrow we all desire, but remain true to our beliefs and to the people we represent. So that when we disagree, it will not be about beating each other. It will be about deciding the best way to create the tomorrow we all want. I also caution each of you to avoid post-election hubris or alternatively post-election despair. The emerging consensus in our country is neither support for nor rejection of either one of our political parties. The emerging consensus in America is the widespread belief that politics is broken, that it doesn't matter who wins or gets elected because nothing's going to happen and nothing's going to change. And this reality is best illustrated by the 90 miles that separate the southernmost tip of the state from the land of my parents' birth. Somewhere in Cuba at this very moment, someone is preparing to risk their lives crossing the Florida Straits on an inner tube because they cannot choose their leaders. Think about it. Ironically, here in Florida, a place that people risk their lives to get to in search of freedom and democracy, in our last election, the majority of the people eligible to vote chose not to. They chose not to because they are disenchanted with politics. Disenchanted because at a time we face challenges as difficult, as daunting as any in our history, our politics is too much about winning, and our leaders are too much about blame.